Maria was a single mother who lived in a small town. She worked hard every day to take care of her two children, Leo, who was 10, and Mia, who was 8. Maria had always been careful with money. She worked as a school librarian and sometimes did small side jobs to make extra money. Life was not easy, but she always tried to keep her children happy. One quiet afternoon, Maria sat at her kitchen table with her laptop. The house was calm. Leo was drawing at the table with colorful pencils, and Mia was reading a storybook in the corner. Maria had just finished her lunch, and she was scrolling through online property listings. She liked to look at old houses and buildings sometimes, imagining how she could fix them and make them beautiful. While scrolling, a strange listing caught her eye. It was for an abandoned train station on the edge of town. The photograph showed a tall brick building with broken windows and a roof covered in vines. The station looked old and forgotten, but there was something about it that made Maria stop and look carefully. The price was very low. It was hard to believe that such a big building could be bought for so little money. Maria leaned back in her chair and thought about it. "This is strange," she whispered to herself. "Why would anyone sell it for this much?" She clicked on the listing and read the description. The station had been closed for many years. No one had lived there or used it for decades. The listing said it needed repairs but did not provide much more information. Maria could feel her heart beating faster. Leo, who had been watching his mother, jumped up and pointed at the screen. "Mom, look at that!" "This isn't a castle, Mom. It's a train station," he said, laughing. Maria smiled. She knew he was right. The building was not a castle. It was far from perfect, but something about it excited her. It was different from anything she had ever seen before. Mia came closer, peeking at the screen. "Mom, it looks scary," she said. "Why would we want it?" Maria laughed softly. "It does look a little scary now, but it could be beautiful," she said. "We could fix it. Maybe it could even become something special for us." Maria spent the next hour thinking. She knew that buying the station would be a big decision. She had never bought a building before. She also had to think about her children and how much money she could spend. But the idea of owning something unusual and mysterious excited her more than she expected. She could imagine the children exploring it, running through the rooms and discovering old corners filled with history. That evening, Maria called her friend Sarah to ask for advice. "Sarah, I found something unusual online," Maria said. "It's an abandoned train station. The price is really low. Do you think I should look at it?" Sarah was quiet for a moment. "Maria, that sounds risky. Old buildings can be full of problems. You don't know what you're buying," she said carefully. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Maria smiled softly. "I know it's risky, but I have a feeling about this place. I want to see it with my own eyes. Maybe it's my chance to start something new for us." After the call, Maria could not stop thinking about the train station. That night she dreamed about it. She imagined walking through the tall doors with Leo and Mia by her side. She imagined the sunlight streaming through dusty windows and the children discovering secret corners filled with history. In her dream, the station was alive with memories from the past and possibilities for the future. She woke up feeling excited and a little nervous. The next day, Maria decided to visit the station. She packed a small bag with water bottles, snacks, and a notebook to write down her thoughts. She told Leo and Mia that they were going on a little adventure. The children were excited. They loved exploring new places, and this sounded like a perfect opportunity. When they arrived, the train station looked even bigger than it did in the photographs. The red bricks were faded, and the windows were covered in dust and cracks. Ivy climbed up the walls, and the roof looked uneven in some places. The doors were tall and wooden, and they creaked loudly when Maria pushed them open. The interior was silent except for the sound of their footsteps. Dust floated in the air and sunlight shone through broken windows. Leo ran ahead, laughing as he jumped from one platform to another. Mia followed more cautiously, holding her mother's hand. Maria looked around carefully. Old benches sat in rows and faded signs hung from the walls. Everything was quiet, as if the station had been frozen in time. Maria walked slowly, imagining what the station might have been like when it was busy. She could almost hear the sound of trains, the chatter of passengers, and the footsteps of people hurrying to catch their rides. She wrote notes in her notebook about the things she wanted to fix and the ideas she had for the building. As they explored, Leo suddenly shouted, "Mom, look, a secret door." He had found a small wooden panel behind an old bench. Maria went over to see. The panel was slightly hidden and she realized it could be a storage compartment. She opened it carefully and found it empty. Maria smiled. Maybe there are more secrets in this place, she said. The children continued to explore with excitement. They climbed stairs, peeked into old ticket counters, and laughed at the cobwebs. Maria felt a sense of adventure she had not felt in years. For the first time in a long time, she imagined a future full of possibilities where she and her children could create something unique and beautiful. By the end of the day, Maria was tired but happy. She sat on an old bench outside the station, watching the sun set behind the building. Leo and Mia were playing nearby, laughing as they chased each other around the platform. Maria knew that buying the station would be a challenge. Repairs would be needed and there would be unexpected problems. But she also knew that this place had a special energy. It felt like a beginning. That evening, Maria returned home and made a decision. She would buy the abandoned train station. She called the real estate agent and asked for the papers. She felt her heart race as she signed the documents. This building, which no one had cared about for years, was now hers. Maria smiled, thinking about the adventures that awaited them. Leo ran to her and hugged her tightly. "Mom, are you sure this is a good idea?" he asked. Maria laughed and hugged him back.
"Yes, Leo, I am sure."
"This is the start of something new for us. It will be an adventure, and we will make it amazing together." Mia joined them, her eyes shining with excitement. "I can't wait to see what we find inside," she said. Maria looked at her children and felt a wave of hope. She knew that no matter what challenges came, they would face them together. This abandoned train station was not just a building. It was a place of dreams, a place where memories would be made, and a place that could change their lives forever. As Maria turned off the lights that evening and got ready for bed, she thought about the words Leo had said when he first saw the building. "This isn't a castle, Mom." Now she smiled at the thought. Maybe it wasn't a castle in the usual sense, but it was a castle in its own way. It was a place of adventure, a place full of secrets, and a place where Maria and her children could build their future. Maria drifted to sleep that night with a feeling of excitement and determination. She did not know what the abandoned train station truly held inside. She did not know the surprises and discoveries that awaited her and her children. But she knew one thing for certain. Their lives were about to change, and this strange old building was going to be at the heart of their new beginning. The morning sun shone brightly as Maria, Leo, and Mia made their way back to the abandoned train station. After signing the papers the day before, Maria felt a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness. Owning such a large old building was unlike anything she had experienced. She had spent the night thinking about what they might find inside. The children were bouncing with energy, unable to wait to explore again. As they approached the station, Maria noticed how the ivy and weeds had grown overnight. The building looked even older than she remembered, but in a way it seemed more alive. Sunlight reflected off broken glass, making tiny patterns on the ground. Maria paused for a moment, imagining what the station might have looked like when it was full of people. She could almost hear the whistle of trains and the laughter of travelers. Leo ran ahead, his backpack bouncing on his shoulders. "Come on, Mom. Mia, hurry. I want to see the inside again," he called. Maria laughed and caught up with him, holding Mia's hand as they walked through the tall wooden doors. The doors groaned as they opened, echoing through the empty halls. Dust swirled in the beams of sunlight streaming through broken windows. The air smelled of old wood and time itself. Maria stepped carefully across the floor, her eyes scanning the walls and ceilings. She noticed faded posters advertising trains and travel. Some were torn, while others still held their color after many years. The old benches, some with broken legs, lined the platforms. Cobwebs hung from corners and chandeliers. Yet despite the dust and decay, Maria felt a sense of wonder. This building had history, and it had survived for decades. It had stories hidden within its walls, waiting to be discovered. Leo ran ahead to the old ticket counters. "Look at this, Mom. People must have bought tickets here a long time ago," he said, running his hands over the smooth wood of the counter. Mia peeked over his shoulder. "I can imagine people lining up, waiting for the trains. It must have been so busy," she said softly. Maria smiled, enjoying their excitement. She realized that the children were not just exploring. They were imagining the station's past, and that made the building even more special. Maria wandered down a long hallway, her footsteps echoing. She noticed small doors set into the walls at irregular intervals. Some were slightly hidden behind old benches or storage boxes. She remembered one door Leo had discovered the day before, and her curiosity grew. She gently tried the handle of one compartment, but it was locked. She made a note to return with tools later. There could be more hidden spaces like this, she thought. While exploring, Maria discovered a staircase leading to a higher level of the station. The stairs were narrow and creaked under their weight, but they were strong enough to climb. "Be careful," Maria said, holding Mia's hand. "We don't know how safe it is yet." The children nodded, following her slowly. At the top of the stairs, they found a long corridor lined with rooms. Some doors were open, revealing empty offices and storage spaces. Old chairs and desks sat abandoned, as if someone had left them in a hurry years ago. Maria noticed papers scattered across the floor. She picked them up and read a few. They were mostly old schedules and letters, yellowed with age. It was fascinating to see how life had been decades ago. Leo ran into one of the rooms and shouted, "Mom! Come here, look at this." Maria hurried to see what he had found. Inside the room was a small safe, partially hidden behind a broken desk. It was old, rusty, and heavy. "Wow," Maria said quietly. "It looks like it hasn't been opened in years." Leo's eyes sparkled. "Do you think there is treasure inside?" he asked. Maria laughed softly. "Maybe," she said, though she was curious herself. Mia, meanwhile, had found a window that overlooked the train tracks. The rails were rusty and grass had grown through the cracks. "Mom, I can imagine the train stopping here. People would wave and say goodbye," she said. Maria smiled, looking out at the view. It was quiet now, but she could picture the excitement that once filled the station. The platform, though empty, had a feeling of anticipation and hope. After exploring the upper level, Maria, Leo, and Mia returned to the main hall. Maria decided it was time to take a closer look at some of the small compartments in the walls. She knelt down and examined one that was partially hidden behind a bench. It was sealed with an old latch, but she carefully opened it. Inside, she found an empty wooden box. "Nothing here," Maria said, shrugging. Leo looked disappointed, but he quickly moved on to another compartment. Hoping for a better discovery, Maria continued to explore, making notes in her notebook about what needed repairs and what could be restored. She imagined turning some rooms into a small library, others into play areas for children, and even a space for community events. The possibilities seemed endless, and Maria felt a growing excitement about the future. As the afternoon passed, the children's energy began to fade, but their curiosity did not. Leo found an old room with stacks of newspapers from many years ago. He picked one up and showed it to Maria. "Mom, look. This is from 1965. People must have read this when they came to the station," he said. Maria took the newspaper and smiled. She loved how the children were connecting with the past. The station was teaching them history in a way no school could. Mia wandered into a small corner near the entrance and found a collection of old lanterns and tools. "Mom, maybe these were used by the workers here," she said. Maria nodded. Yes, they probably helped the trains arrive on time and kept everything running smoothly. She could imagine the workers' daily routines, the trains arriving and departing, and the sounds of whistles and wheels on the tracks. As the day came to an end, Maria, Leo, and Mia sat on one of the old benches outside the station. The sun was low in the sky, painting the building in warm colors. Maria felt proud of her decision to buy the station. It was old, broken, and dusty, but it had potential. More than that, it had a spirit that made her feel alive. She knew the journey ahead would be challenging, but it would also be full of discoveries and joy. Leo leaned against her shoulder. "Mom, I think this place is going to be fun. Maybe we will find real treasures one day," he said. Maria smiled, feeling the warmth of his words. "Maybe we will, Leo, maybe we will," she said. Mia joined in, holding her mother's hand. "I hope we can make this place happy again," she said softly. Maria hugged them both. She knew that happiness was already beginning. As they walked home, Maria looked back at the station one last time. She imagined it full of life again, with laughter and learning, with children running and adults sharing stories. She thought about the secrets hidden inside, waiting to be discovered. The abandoned train station was no longer just an old building. It was a place of adventure, history, and possibilities. That night, Maria wrote in her notebook about their day. She wrote down all the discoveries, ideas for restoration, and plans for the future. She felt inspired and determined. She knew that owning the station was just the beginning. There were mysteries to uncover, challenges to face and memories to create. Maria fell asleep thinking about the station and the life it could give her children. She dreamed of secret rooms, hidden treasures, and laughter echoing through the halls. The old train station had become more than a building. It was a place where hope and excitement could grow, where the past and future could meet, and where Maria and her children could build a life full of adventure and joy. A few days after exploring the station, Maria decided to return alone. Leo and Mia had school and chores, but Maria could not stop thinking about the strange compartments she had seen. She wanted to investigate further. The morning was cool and the sun cast long shadows on the old building as Maria walked toward it. The air smelled of damp earth and aged wood, and the station seemed even more mysterious than before. Maria pushed open the tall wooden doors, and the familiar creak echoed through the empty hall. The sunlight streamed through broken windows, illuminating dust particles that danced in the air. Maria took a deep breath and smiled. She loved the quiet and the feeling that this building was a world of its own, waiting to reveal secrets. She moved carefully through the main hall, passing the benches and faded signs. She remembered the small wall compartments she had seen before. Today she planned to examine every one of them. Her curiosity had grown. Something about this station felt important, as if it held a secret that had been waiting for decades. The first few compartments were empty. Maria opened each one carefully, her heart beating faster with every latch she pulled. Some held old papers, others only dust. She smiled at the thought of the station hiding small surprises. She began to notice patterns in the way the compartments were built. They were hidden, small and sturdy, as if someone had wanted to keep the contents safe and private. After checking several compartments, Maria came to a larger one near the corner of the building. This one was heavier and had a small lock. She tried to open it, but the latch would not budge. Maria searched nearby and found a rusty key hanging on a hook. Her hands trembled slightly as she inserted the key into the lock. With a soft click, the compartment opened, revealing a small metal box. Maria's eyes widened. The box was old but surprisingly well preserved. It was heavy and the metal gleamed faintly in the sunlight. She lifted it carefully and placed it on a nearby bench. Her heart raced. Could this box hold something valuable? She had no idea, but a feeling told her that this discovery could be important. Maria opened the box slowly. Inside, she found stacks of old documents tied with string, envelopes filled with currency notes, and a few small metal objects she did not recognize. She carefully examined the documents. They were written in neat handwriting and contained numbers, names, and addresses. Some seemed to be records of money or property. Maria could hardly believe what she was seeing. Her mind raced with questions. Who had hidden these items in the abandoned station? Why had no one discovered them before? The more she looked, the more she realized that the box contained something valuable. She could feel the weight of history and mystery in her hands. The station, which had seemed only interesting before, now felt like a treasure trove waiting to be uncovered. Maria decided to take the box home. She carefully placed it in her bag and locked the station doors behind her. The walk back to her house felt different. The air was filled with excitement and anticipation. She imagined telling Leo and Mia about her discovery, but she decided to wait until she had examined the contents more carefully. At home, Maria cleared a table and placed the box in front of her. She opened it again and began to sort through the documents and envelopes. The currency notes were old, but their numbers suggested that they had significant value. The papers contained records of deposits, transactions, and accounts that Maria did not fully understand. She knew she needed help to make sense of everything. Despite not knowing the exact value of what she had found, Maria felt a sense of awe. This was more than just money or papers. It was history, carefully hidden and preserved. She could imagine the person who had placed these items here, hoping that someday someone would find them. Maria felt a strange connection to the past. Later that day, she called her friend Sarah again. "Sarah, you won't believe what I found at the station," Maria said. She described the metal box, the documents, and the envelopes of money. Sarah was silent for a moment. "Maria, that sounds incredible. Be careful, though. You should let an expert look at it," she said. Maria agreed. She knew that she needed someone who could evaluate the discovery properly. The next day, Maria contacted a local historian and a financial expert. She explained the situation and arranged for them to visit the station. The thought of experts examining the box made her both nervous and excited. She hoped that the contents were as valuable as they appeared. When the experts arrived, Maria led them to the compartment where she had found the box. They examined the station carefully, noting the structure and hidden spaces. Then they opened the metal box. The historian's eyes widened as he examined the documents. "This is remarkable," he said. "These records are very old, and they show careful planning. The money and papers have been preserved almost perfectly." The financial expert carefully counted the notes and examined the papers. His face grew serious as he worked. Maria watched anxiously. Finally, he looked up. "Maria, you may have found something very valuable. The documents and money together could be worth a significant fortune," he said. Maria's heart skipped a beat. The historian added, "It is rare to find a discovery like this. The station must have been used to store these items secretly many years ago. The person who hid them probably never returned." Maria nodded, feeling the weight of the discovery. The abandoned train station, which had seemed like a strange adventure at first, had turned into something extraordinary. Maria thanked the experts and carefully stored the box in a secure place. She could hardly wait to tell Leo and Mia about her discovery. That evening, she gathered the children in the living room. "I have something to show you," she said, opening the box. The children gasped as they saw the old documents and stacks of money. "Wow, Mom, this is amazing," Leo exclaimed. Mia looked at her mother with wide eyes. "Is this real treasure?" she asked. Maria smiled. "Yes, it is something very special. We have to be careful, but we found something important. This old train station held secrets that no one knew about." The children were fascinated. They asked questions about the papers, the money, and the station. Maria explained that these were records from long ago, and that someone had hidden them to keep them safe. Leo and Mia listened carefully, imagining the people who had worked at the station and the journeys they had taken. That night, Maria could hardly sleep. She thought about the discovery, the hidden box, and the possibility that it could change their lives. She knew that the fortune inside the station was more than money. It was a chance for a new beginning. The abandoned train station had become a place of mystery, history, and opportunity. As she drifted to sleep, Maria imagined the adventures that awaited. There were more secrets to uncover, more rooms to explore, and perhaps even more hidden treasures. The station was no longer just an old building. It was a gateway to something extraordinary, a place where the past and future met, and a place that could bring joy and security to her family. Maria smiled in her sleep, thinking of Leo's words when he first saw the station. "This isn't a castle, Mom." Now she understood. Maybe it was not a castle in the usual sense, but it was a castle of secrets, history, and possibilities. It was a castle for adventure, a castle for dreams, and a castle where her family could find a brighter future. After discovering the metal box, Maria could hardly think about anything else. The old train station had always seemed like a strange adventure, but now it held a secret that could change her life forever. She spent the next morning cleaning a small room in her house to carefully examine the contents. She opened the box again, laying out the papers, envelopes, and stacks of money. Each piece seemed more remarkable than the last. Maria called the historian and the financial expert again to ask for a detailed evaluation. They agreed to meet her at her home so that everything could be carefully studied. When they arrived, Maria led them to the table where the box was displayed. The historian examined each document with great care, while the financial expert handled the currency notes, counting and verifying them. After several hours, the historian looked up, a smile on his face. "Maria, these documents are very old and well preserved. They show a complex system of accounts, property records, and hidden deposits. Whoever created this wanted to make sure the items stayed safe for a very long time." Maria listened carefully, trying to understand the importance of the discovery. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The financial expert, meanwhile, had been quietly counting the notes. He looked up, his expression serious. "Maria, you have something very rare here. The money combined with the documents represents a fortune. This could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars today." Maria's heart skipped a beat. She had known the discovery was important, but she never imagined it could be this valuable. She felt her hands tremble slightly as she looked at the experts. "Hundreds of millions?" she asked softly. The financial expert nodded. "Yes. This was carefully hidden decades ago and has remained untouched." "You found something extraordinary." Maria could hardly believe it. The abandoned train station, which had seemed so ordinary at first, was now the place where a hidden fortune had been waiting all these years. The historian added, "It is rare to find something preserved this well. Most abandoned buildings do not hold such secrets. The original owner clearly trusted this station and built these hidden compartments to protect these items." Maria thought about the small metal box, the hidden compartments, and the secret rooms in the station. She realized that she had been standing in a piece of history without even knowing it. Maria felt a mixture of excitement and disbelief. She imagined what this fortune could mean for her children. Leo and Mia had always wanted more opportunities, more freedom to learn and explore. This discovery could give them a life full of possibilities. At the same time, Maria felt a sense of responsibility. This was not just money. It was history, and it needed to be treated with care. Over the next few days, the experts returned several times to evaluate everything in detail. Maria stayed close, learning about the documents, the currency, and the way the original owner had kept everything organized. She was amazed at how careful and thoughtful the person had been. Each envelope, each note, each paper had been placed with intention. It was like stepping into a mind from the past. Maria also thought about the station itself. The building had been more than a home for the hidden fortune. It had been a place of trust, a place to protect something valuable. The station, which she had bought for so little, had proven to be priceless in ways she could not have imagined. She felt gratitude for the opportunity to uncover this secret and for the chance to make it part of her family's story. One afternoon, Maria decided to take Leo and Mia to the station to show them some of the progress. She did not tell them the exact value yet, but she wanted them to see the old building with fresh eyes. As they walked through the halls, the children noticed the compartments and hidden spaces with excitement. Leo ran ahead, pointing out places where he imagined treasures could be hidden, while Mia explored the rooms carefully, asking questions about the papers and the envelopes. Maria smiled, watching her children. "You see, this station is full of stories," she said, "and we are a part of it now. There are secrets here that people worked hard to protect. We need to be careful and respectful, but we can also explore and learn." The children nodded, understanding that the station was special. That evening, after the children went to bed, Maria sat at her desk and reviewed the documents again. She could feel the weight of the discovery settling in. This was not just a chance for financial security. It was a chance to create a better life for her family. She thought about the future, about the school they could attend, the trips they could take, and the opportunities they could explore. Her mind filled with hope and determination. The next day, Maria contacted a legal advisor to ensure that everything was handled properly. She wanted to make sure that the discovery was protected and that her family would benefit from it safely. The advisor explained the steps to take, including verification of ownership and proper documentation for the hidden fortune. Maria listened carefully, taking notes and asking questions. She wanted to make sure everything was done correctly. As the days passed, Maria began to plan how the fortune could help her family and the community. She thought about restoring the station and turning it into a place for learning, exploration, and play. She imagined classrooms, libraries, and spaces for children to discover history and science. The station could become more than a building. It could become a center for curiosity and imagination. Maria also thought about the joy it would bring her children. Leo loved adventures and Mia loved learning. The station could be a place where their dreams could grow. Maria felt a deep sense of purpose. The hidden fortune was not just money. It was a key to a future full of possibilities. One afternoon, Maria decided to finally tell Leo and Mia about the fortune. They sat together in the living room and Maria carefully explained what had been discovered. The children listened with wide eyes, amazed at the idea that the old train station had held something so important for so many years. "Wow, Mom, that's unbelievable," Leo exclaimed. Mia nodded, her face shining with excitement. "So this means we can do so many things now, right?" she asked. Maria smiled. "Yes, but we also have to be careful and thoughtful. This is a responsibility, not just a reward." The children nodded, understanding that the discovery was special and needed respect. That night, Maria reflected on everything that had happened. From a simple idea to explore an abandoned train station, to discovering a fortune hidden for decades, her life had changed completely. She felt gratitude for the opportunity, for the excitement, and for the chance to create a new future. She knew challenges would come, but she was ready to face them with her children by her side. As she drifted to sleep, Maria thought about the first day she had walked into the station. She remembered Leo's words. "This isn't a castle, Mom." Now she understood. Maybe it was not a castle in the usual sense, but it was a place of wonder, adventure, and opportunity. It was a place where her family could grow, learn, and dream. It was a place that would always hold a special place in their hearts. Maria smiled in the dark, feeling a mixture of joy and anticipation. The abandoned train station had been a surprise, a challenge, and a gift. The fortune she had found was extraordinary, but the most important part was the future it could create. She knew that this was just the beginning of an incredible journey for her family. The next morning, Maria woke up determined. She had plans to protect the fortune, restore the station, and create a home full of happiness for her children. The station was no longer just an old building. It was a symbol of hope, a place of discovery, and a foundation for the future. Maria felt proud of her decision and ready for the adventures ahead. The days after discovering the hidden fortune were filled with excitement and planning for Maria and her children. Maria knew that the old train station had changed their lives forever. She felt a strong sense of purpose and responsibility. The first step was to make the station safe and usable, so she called workers to repair the broken doors, windows, and floors. She wanted the station to be a place of adventure for her children and eventually for the community. Leo and Mia loved helping their mother with small tasks. They painted walls, cleaned rooms, and arranged old furniture in the spaces they had explored before. Every day the station felt more alive. The sunlight streaming through the restored windows illuminated bright colors on the walls. Maria watched the children laughing and playing, and she realized that this building, which had seemed forgotten and empty, was now full of life. One morning, Maria walked through the station, imagining the new spaces she could create. She pictured classrooms filled with books, small laboratories for science experiments, and art rooms where children could express themselves freely. She also imagined a cozy library corner, with soft rugs and chairs for reading. The idea of creating a place where learning could be fun made her heart feel full. The children ran around happily, exploring each corner. Leo found a small hidden compartment he had never noticed before. He opened it carefully, hoping to find something exciting. Inside, there was a collection of old stamps and coins. "Mom, look!" "Another treasure!" he shouted with delight. Maria smiled, seeing the joy in her son's eyes. "Yes, Leo, it is a treasure, and it teaches us about history," she said. Mia picked up a few coins and examined them closely. "These are so old. People must have used them a long time ago," she said. Maria nodded, feeling proud of how curious and thoughtful her children were becoming. As the station was being restored, Maria also focused on organizing the hidden fortune. She worked with financial advisors to secure the money safely and ensure that everything was legal and properly documented. Maria wanted to make sure that her family could benefit from the discovery without any risk. The thought of building a secure future for Leo and Mia filled her with hope and determination. Maria's friends and neighbors began to notice the changes in the station. Some came to help, while others were curious about the renovations. Maria welcomed everyone warmly. She wanted the station to be more than a home for her family. She wanted it to be a place for the entire community. She imagined workshops, learning activities, and events where children and adults could gather to explore history, science, and creativity. One sunny afternoon, Maria decided to give Leo and Mia a tour of the newly restored station. The walls were freshly painted, the floors polished, and the rooms organized. The children ran from room to room, exploring every corner. Leo found a small platform near the tracks and imagined it filled with passengers waiting for a train. Mia sat in the library corner, pretending to read a book she had never seen before. Maria watched them with a smile, feeling proud of what they had achieved together. Maria also thought about the people who had hidden the fortune decades ago. She wondered about their lives and why they had chosen the station as a safe place. The thought that she had discovered something so carefully preserved made her feel connected to history. The station was no longer just a building. It was a bridge between the past and the future, connecting generations and possibilities. With the fortune secured, Maria began to plan a small opening ceremony for the station. She wanted to invite neighbors, friends, and children from the community to celebrate the new beginning. The idea of sharing this special place with others made her heart feel warm. She imagined the station filled with laughter, learning, and exploration, and she knew that her discovery would benefit more than just her family. On the day of the opening, the station was bright and lively. Balloons and banners decorated the rooms, and tables with books and art supplies were set up for the children. Leo and Mia helped welcome the visitors, showing them the hidden compartments and the history of the station. The children's excitement was contagious, and soon everyone was exploring the rooms, reading old documents and imagining the past lives of the station. Maria stood at the entrance, watching the crowd. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The abandoned train station, which had seemed so lonely and forgotten when she first bought it, was now alive with energy, curiosity, and hope. The discovery of the hidden fortune had not only secured her family's future, but also created a place where the community could come together and learn. Leo ran up to Maria, holding a small collection of old coins and stamps he had found. "Mom, look! We found more treasures," he said excitedly. Maria laughed and hugged him. "Yes, Leo. We have found treasures, but the best treasure is the happiness and learning we share here," she said. Mia joined them, her eyes shining. "I love this place, Mom. It feels like our castle," she said softly. Maria smiled, remembering Leo's words from the first day. "Yes, it is our castle," she said. "A castle of adventure, learning, and hope." As the sun began to set, Maria and her children walked to the platform near the old tracks. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink, and the station glowed in the warm light. Maria thought about how far they had come, from a simple decision to buy an abandoned building, to discovering a hidden fortune, to restoring the station. Their lives had transformed completely. The journey had been full of surprises, challenges, and joy. Maria hugged Leo and Mia, feeling grateful for the adventure and the discovery. She knew that life would continue to bring challenges, but she also knew that they had the strength, courage, and love to face them together. The station had become more than just a building. It was a symbol of resilience, imagination, and the power of following one's instincts. That night, as Maria tucked Leo and Mia into bed, she told them stories about the station's past, the people who had worked there, and the treasures they had found. The children listened with wide eyes, imagining the adventures that had taken place in the building long before they arrived. Maria smiled, knowing that these stories would stay with them forever, inspiring curiosity, imagination, and hope. After the children fell asleep, Maria returned to the station one last time that day. She walked through the rooms, now bright and welcoming, and felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The hidden compartments, the discoveries, and the restored spaces were all part of a new story that she and her children were creating. Maria realized that the fortune had been more than money. It had been a key to a new life, filled with opportunities and happiness. Maria sat on one of the benches and looked around. She could almost hear the echoes of the past, the footsteps of travelers, and the laughter of children from long ago. She smiled, knowing that the station was now a bridge between generations. It held history, secrets, and possibilities, and it had given her family a chance to create something wonderful. The abandoned train station was no longer forgotten. It was a place of adventure, learning, and joy. Maria knew that her family's journey was just beginning, and that the station would continue to grow and inspire others. The discovery of the hidden fortune had changed their lives, but it was the love, curiosity, and determination of Maria and her children that truly made the station magical. As Maria walked home that night, she held Leo's and Mia's hands tightly. She felt a sense of peace and fulfillment. The station had become a place of hope, and their family had become a part of its story. Maria whispered to herself, "We found our castle, our treasure, and our new beginning." The next morning, the sun rose over the old station, shining on the freshly painted walls and the restored floors. Children laughed and played, families explored the hidden compartments, and Maria watched with pride. The abandoned train station had become a home for learning, adventure, and dreams. Maria knew that the future was bright, filled with new discoveries, joys, and endless possibilities. For Maria, Leo, and Mia, the station was more than just a building. It was a symbol of courage, curiosity, and hope. It was a reminder that even the most ordinary places could hold extraordinary secrets. It was a place where history, discovery, and love met. and it was a place where their family could always find happiness, adventure, and new beginnings.